Spoiler warning for this episode. I will be going into detail about Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Happy Friday the 13th, all you Jason X, you Voorheesians. I still don't know the proper terminology for fans of the Friday the 13th series. Once again, it is Friday the 13th, and the best thing to do on Friday the 13th is watch a Friday the 13th movie, and we are on Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. Yeah, I'm probably going to do that a lot this episode. Get used to it. Okay, I'm recording this beginning part. It is actually not Friday the 13th. It is Saturday the 13th, but it is Saturday, August 13th. And that was the release date of this part of the Friday the 13th saga, Part 3 in 3D. In 1982, happy 40th birthday, Part 3. You don't look a day older. And I thought, what am I going to watch? I'm all alone in the house again. It's almost midnight, so let's watch a Friday the 13th movie. Nothing that's not going to scare me. I've got my protector dog here. Yeah, she'll help me out a lot there. And of course, I'm currently sick today. Not the day you're watching this, or the day it's posted, but the day it's recording. I'm currently sick. The nice thing about COVID is it gives you Michael Wincott voice. Why a spoon, cousin? If I could remember a line from The Crow, let me do an impression for you. Ka 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 bang. That's the only thing that came to mind. I don't know the thing, but that's The Crow. That is not Friday the 13th, which is what we're going to talk about. Watch it. Just want to let you know that I watched it on its release day. I wanted to watch it in 3D, but I still haven't got the video projector working. For some reason, technical issues. The glasses just keep on me. Anywho, I am looking forward because this is the big one. He gets the hockey mask. This is the one where he gets the hockey mask. Yeah, okay, so I should just go ahead and click. I only got an hour left to watch this movie on its release date. Which, 11 p.m. is a lovely time to watch a horror movie. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do the usual stuff. Should I go ahead and do the usual stuff? Will I remember it when I finally get to doing the official review about it? Who knows? Who knows what I've been thinking in my head? I'm sorry, just digressing horribly. A new dimension in terror. Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. An idyllic summer turns into a nightmare of unspeakable terror as for yet another group of naive counselors, ignoring Camp Crystal Lake's bloody legacy, one by one they fall victim to the mechanical, maniacal Jason, who stalks them at every turn. Friday the 13th, Part 3 will have you frozen in fear. Just like that. As Jason finds his way into your living room, in 3D. To your living room, 3D. How do they know I'm watching it in my living room? Wait till they get a load of me. Okay, yep, Scream Factory. They're working our way through the box set. There we go. There's the original thing. And then on the inside, it's got, he's stabbing it. I think I said this last time in part 2. And I was going to pop that out of the plastic there. Maybe we'll get a little better image. That silhouette, I mean, I guess you can kind of see there's a mask stripe there. But that just really looks like hair to me. You know, it just. It's. I feel like they're trying to do Michael Myers. I honestly do. And I don't remember. I don't have the box set here, so I can't look at the other art. So I don't know if they continue this motif or if they go to, well, because I think final chapter is just the hockey mask with the axe through it, and then it goes on to other stuff. So I think this is the last time they do the silhouette and knife. Ooh, excuse me. And I'm gonna have to pay attention. Does he stab somebody in a shower? Definitely doesn't look like Mama Bates there stabbing people. And there, he's lost all his hillbilly hair from the second movie. Must just be the stress of almost being killed. Reverse side, which is more 3D. And the there. Yeah, he's climbing over stuff to get to you. And she's screaming, coming at you. I think it's kind of funny that picture of her putting the axe into his forehead there. Nope, not gonna focus. Come on. All you want to pay attention to is this right here. That photo there almost looks like she's getting, she's preparing for the shot. She's like, okay, is this where the axe needs to go? Okay, right there. I mean, because it's in 3D, so it's got to be, everything's lined up specifically. You got to know where it's going to be coming at you. You don't want any wobbly 3D effects. Okay, I haven't watched this since the 90s, I swear. Cross my Falcon. I don't necessarily. I remember some. But I've seen a lot of 3D movies. But I'm going to say. So it could just be memory. Could just be brilliant deduction. Lucky guessing. But I'm going to say you're going to have a shot of a yo yo coming at you. You're going to have a shot of somebody with like a rake or a pole of some kind. And they're holding it out to it. And you're going to have, like a harpoon? Gonna go some Jaws 3D action at you? I think so. I think a harpoon in there. Yeah. Pitchfork coming at you. Classic. Gotta be in there, right? It's a new dimension. I already said that, but I can't stop saying it. It's a new dimension in terror. And I think that's all my predictions I had. I don't think I had any more past that. Never seen in theaters, never seen in 3D. Only watched VHS. I don't think I said this not the first movie, but for part 2. I don't think I said this. That I've never watched part 2 through 8, and then Jason Goes to Hell. I never saw those in the theaters. I only saw them on TV. So I've never seen them widescreen. So I am looking forward to seeing it in widescreen just as much as I'm looking forward to watching it in 3D. Yeah. Is there any? I don't. I just really didn't need to talk about this for 20 minutes, but I am, and I'm gonna leave it all in there. And you're gonna think this is hilarious, or you're just gonna feel sorry for me and continue watching the rest of it. Okay, let's watch the rest of it. Yes. So I'm getting ready. I'm gonna turn off all these lights, and I'm gonna sit down and enjoy a nice, quiet evening and pretend that I'm in a movie theater 40 years ago to the day watching this movie. And that's the day I'm watching the movie, August 13th, 2022. Not this day, which is Friday the 13th, 2023. In this month here, um, yeah, I'm ready to get freaked out. But intense action, horror, dramedy, coming at you. You're still with me after that? Thank you for sticking with me. I don't look incredibly tired or sick, do I? I jinxed myself a couple of videos ago. Watching the book review video, I think it was. I jinxed myself. Anyway, not for Friday the 13th, for Alfred Hitchcock. Okay. I'm going to press the play button. Did that stab you in the eye? I'm so sorry. Are you blinded now? Oh. I didn't know that would happen from me doing that. I apologize. Let's watch some Friday the 13th. And then I will tell you all about it. And I'm going to guarantee you I'm not going to have this nice, gravelly voice when I do. I sure as heck hope I'm a lot better by the time I get around to that. Because I still really hope to be able to watch it in 3D and talk about it watching it in 3D. That's silly. Now I just feel like I'm babbling on about stuff, and you guys are like, dude, get on with the show. You've already said you're going to start watching it. You blinded us with your remote control. And stabbed us several times with the knife. Now you're just being a weirdo. And you're right. I just, weirdo. I don't know why I'm being a weirdo.
Hey guys, I'm back. It's been a while. You can't tell. I have no idea. I haven't edited that yet, so I have no idea how usable that footage was. I was very much sick at that point. And yet, it's now January 2023. For some reason, I thought it wasn't until April 23 was the next Friday the 13th. Dog disagrees with me. It's this month. I was listening to something, Neon Brainiacs, and there was the Maniac feedback, and like one of the listeners was like, "Are you guys gonna do an episode for Friday the 13th in January?" And I was all like, "It's not in January. What are you talking about? I still got plenty of time." And then I looked it up, and I don't. It's January, so here we are. I've watched it. I've watched it 3 times now. The first time back then, where the intro was done, when I watched it there, I gotta say, I don't know if it was because I was very sick with COVID at the time, but I loved the crap out of this movie. It was just what I needed at the time. I just really, I don't know if it was because I was sick or, because I was just feeling so down and so, miserable. And I was like, okay, let's go ahead and watch it. And it really just hit the spot. Then I was able to watch it in 3D. I somehow do not have it. I can't do the 3D joke because I don't have the disc, but I have that top of the box set. Because I thought I would be not recording at this house. So anyway, okay. Can you tell the difference from when I'm sick and when I'm not sick? Can you really? I'm just still as coherent. Anyway, then I was finally able to get my projector to actually work and my glasses to actually work with 3D. So that was cool. So first time ever watching it in 3D. So I will talk about that one. This might be an extra long video because I got like 3 different things I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get into it. Because I got a lot of stuff. I took a bunch of notes this time. Will it be any better video? I can't guarantee it. Let's see. I'm already a little dark, aren't I? That's how it is here, KBVC. It's a dark and stormy night. I was trying to set an atmosphere. So it starts off the first with a caption informing the viewer that the first few minutes will not be in 3D. And then so it has the 2D opening, which is the end of the second movie. Ginny in the Mama Voorhees shrine, and then basically that whole scene where she says, tries to convince him that she is his mother. That whole ending part. What they do is I don't know. I'm disjointed. Still disjointed. I got 2 pages of notes. I'm still disjointed. They decided to go a different route in the design for Jason. So in 2, they had the town that dreaded sundown cosplay, and then the hillbilly look with his big beard and long hair. It used to be there 20 back when this movie came out. No, 10 years, no, 20 years after this movie, though. That's when I had the long hair going all over the place. So they got rid of the hillbilly look and made it into the bald look that we know of Jason nowadays, what we think of. This becomes his signature look after this movie. This is the movie, part 3, where he gets his signature look. So it's a big one. It's an important one for the franchise. So they got rid of the hillbilly thing and made it look like he did more at the end of the first movie. When he jumps out of the water and grabs what's her name, pulls her down. So they took that look from the first movie, totally erased the hillbilly look. In retrospect, with him getting the hockey mask, the bald look was a lot better than the big beard and long. It might have only been on one side of his head. I can't remember at this time. I'm sorry. He's got the big look, big hair, and then that maybe not be as impressive with big beard and long hair. So the works with the hockey mask having the bald cap on. And this is a straight recap, not like number 2, part 2. Sorry, guys. Sorry, any English viewers. Part 2, which had the flashbacks as she's talking on the phone and she has a nightmare. She's having a nightmare. Sorry, and then this footage they cut around the fact that so they don't show hillbilly. They don't do anything like that. I think they reshot him grabbing the machete to go after Ginny. Yeah, grabs the machete, goes, bam! Credits in 3D. Friday the 13th. Part 3. And this is... They got the funky Friday the 13th music. I don't know if you guys have heard it. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys, know it by heart. Some of you love it. Some of you probably hate it. Some of you have probably never heard it. If you've never heard it, I would recommend listening to it because it's at least worth a listen. It's like Disco Friday. And as Jason is billed in the opening credits, and I think that's the first time he's ever been billed in the opening credits. Uh, yeah, was the only thing that I noted there. Okay, so start the movie off. There's a roadside business and home. So it's like one of those back highway establishments where you can, probably get gas, although I don't remember seeing a gas pump. But it's like a bait shop. You go, you pick up your supplies, you get your food, snacks, and go on. And their back half is a home, and they've got a yard with clotheslines in the back, with clothes hanging, sheets and stuff like that. Nice area for killers to mosey through without being fully spotted. And the proprietors of this joint is Harold and the Harpy. That's what I'm going to call him. Harold looks like Avery Schreiber from Match Game. Beard and funny hair, kind of like what he did, what Jason looked at the beginning of the thing. And then the Harpy, he's got a wife that just lays on to him all the time. Uh, that's how I know Harold's name, because we hear, Harold, do this, Harold, where are you? And I think the actress that they cast as the Harpy actually looks attractive, and they try very hard to make her look unattractive. That's how I thought about it. Anyway, Harry's out there, and he knocks the pole down that's holding up the clothesline. He knocks the pole down that's holding up the clothesline. That's where you get the first 3D shot of the pole. He's like, I gotta put this pole back up on the line it up nicely, and stick it into the camera. It works all right. It's okay. Cut into the house. She's watching TV while knitting, and the news report informs us that the last movie ended earlier that day. So the cops coming and picking up Ginny and taking her off to wherever they take her happens that day, according to the news report. Okay, and then we get our second 3D effect of the antenna coming out at you. She's watching the news report. Harold comes in, and she just lays into Harold a little bit, and it starts the tradition of country folk who, the couple who, or in this case, they're a married couple. I think later on there's going to be a wife and a son. The abusive woman and the downtrodden man who, just like, yes, dear, or whatever, yes, mom. And later on, I think, was it five? It starts here. I know it gets repeated at least once, hopefully more, because I don't know. I think it's funny. I guess I enjoy that dynamic. So Harold goes into the store and he starts eating fish food until he finds out that it's got some kind of insect egg in it. He's like, and then he grabs this big rabbit who is helping himself to the goods. The 3D in this part, nothing's coming at you, but it's got the good depth of field. A lot of this movie, a lot of 3D movies really have a great depth of field. So like if you were watching this in 3D, if I was able to put that in 3D, you would be able to see that this wall here is a little bit behind me, and then that the kitchen back there is even further back than that. It's got that good depth of field. And he's like he's grazing on food, grabbing donuts. He's drinking orange juice straight out of the bottle. She catches him and tells him, "Get that filthy animal! Get that animal out of here!" So he takes him back to where the rabbits are. So the rabbit back to the rabbit cage. There's a 3D effect here. I don't think it was intentional, because a moth flies down past the camera, and it comes out in 3D. And he goes in there and he finds that rabbits have been eaten. Basically to imply that Jason is eating the rabbits, just like the guys in Us. They're eating the rabbits for food. Step up from whatever he was eating in last movie? I don't know. But we get our third 3D effect is a snake jumps out towards the screen, which yeah, it didn't really work very well for me. But it worked great for Harold. It scares the poop out of him, literally. So he runs back to the bathroom, and that's when Maud, the harpy, Harold and Maud. That's when she finds out that she's missing a knitting needle. She's like, "Where's my knitting needle? Where'd it go? It was right here." And I go into the other room, and I come back in here. Blah 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 blah. And then Harold goes into the bathroom, and what is up with this bathroom? A very disgusting corner of a storeroom in the place. It's hard to believe that this is their standard bathroom, and I definitely would not use that bathroom as a customer. Definitely would not. But he hears noises and investigates, and the real horror of this scene is that he didn't wipe his butt or wash his hands. And you know he pooped because they started the scene off with something with poop clopping into water noise. So that's the real disgusting part. But he doesn't touch a whole lot. He opens up a cabinet door, does something else. Before we get our fourth 3D and first kill with an axe into Harold. It's very quick, though. Effect doesn't really last very long. Maud the Harpy goes looking for him. And we got another 3D effect, 5, I think, where the mouse comes out at you. And it's like a stick. It's like a yardstick sticking out. And the mouse crawls up towards her, and she goes, ah, like that, and then backs up. And we get the second kill, which is a knitting needle to the back of the head. I don't remember if that was in 3D or not. So I guess I can't say how many shots of 3D there are from now on. But then it cuts to kids playing on the street, and we get another 3D effect with a bat into the face. Let me simulate 3D by not having 3D. Van pulls up with all our main characters, and they are not camp counselors this year. They're not camp counselors. They're just some 20-somethings. I'm thinking they're like college age, but they could be teens. You never know about these 80s movies. But it seems like 2 of the characters are roommates in college. And we're introduced to braids and handstand, which I'll tell you why I call him handstand later. The final girl, who I believe is named as Chris. And then Shelley, who is the Ned Ted character for this film. And that is a reference to the annoying pranksters from the first 2 movies, respectively. And then there's another 3D, unintentional 3D effect with a lens flare popping on. That was kind of fun. There's some dialogue. Shelley's is really insecure. He is extremely insecure, and he hides his behind. He puts on a mask, literally. This one is like one of those plastic see-through ones that, has like a face painted on it kind of thing. He's coming up with a fake knife, stabs him in the back, and Handstands is like, "You a-hole." And he's like, "I'm not an a-hole. I'm an actor. I'm an actor." Same thing is with response to that. Yeah, Shelley is always down on himself. Very insecure, very puts down on himself. And hides behind this actor persona, which is basically him trying to deflect attention from how he acts by being really into not really into horror movies, but horror effects and making himself look scary kind of thing, scaring people. That's Shelley in a nutshell. And they're picking up Vera, who is supposedly Shelley's blind date. And her mom is like, "You're not going, blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "I'm going." And she should have listened to your mom. This is one case where you should have listened to your mom. And then the next thing we know, the van is on fire. Smoke is pouring out. We open the doors and it's not on fire. There's just two hippies back there smoking away. Just got the whole uh, van filled with smoke. Stoners. I said hippies, but stoners. Then it really got a cabin in the woods vibe at this point. This whole meet and greet thing. So I kind of wonder if that's where this was the major influence for that scene in Cabin in the Woods. I don't know. And this is also where we find out that Braids is pregnant, which I find to be a very odd inclusion into the plot. It's just kind of her. All it does is give her an excuse not to smoke marijuana or eat it or drink alcohol. It seems like a weird plot line to put in there, and it doesn't play much other than that. We just kind of assume that Handstand is the husband, and that they're still very much horny for each other. Let's see. We get our next. So they get in the van. They drive off. They're heading to Chris's farm, ranch, country home that is Camp Crystal Lake adjacent, is what I will say. And we get our next 3D one with a 3D joint, which I'm sure gets a huge cheer from the audience who watching it. 3D joint coming out at you because they're like, hey, pass that up front. Yay, sure. And then there's some more character building where Shelly's got this little briefcase, makeup case. And Vera's all like, what you got in there? He's like, my whole world. My whole world. And it's like this little case. He must have his masks someplace else. It is props. I mean, he's just got. It's not a very big case. It's like one of those magic cases where you can pull whatever you want out of there whenever you need it. Yeah. And then the cops are coming up behind him. They don't want to get caught with the weed, so there's a scene where they're eating the weed, which, according to the commentary, was oregano. I think is what the actor who played Shelley said. I could be wrong. There's a 3D puff of smoke, unintentional puff of smoke 3D. So they're trying to get rid of it, but the cops don't care because they're zooming past. They're headed to the roadside business because the two murders, the Harold and Harpy mod, have been found, and so the cops are there and they drive by and they're all like, "What's going on?" So cops just discovered the body. So that means that this takes place 2 days after the second movie. 2 days after the second movie, right? Because it would have been Friday the 13th, and then Saturday the 14th is when the Harold and Maude got killed, and then this is the next day. It was that night that they got killed. So this is the next day where they're driving by. I'm assuming it's the next day, and that it hasn't been a month since these guys have been dead. I'm assuming that that there wasn't two Friday the 13th months. Two Friday the 13th back to back, and that it took them a whole month, 30 days, 31 days, whatever, maybe February, 28 days, unless it's leap year, to find Harold and Harpy Vaughn. I'm assuming that. So that would mean that we're actually on Sunday the 14th. Unless the second movie didn't actually happen on Friday the 13th. I don't know. I guess I can check my notes here real quick to see what it says. Because I think they just say that it's 5 years. Backstory. 5 years away. 5 years ago. Yeah. So if we're assuming that all the murder and mayhem happened on Friday the 13th, then that would actually make this Sunday the 14th. Anyway, they're driving along and they almost hit a bum. For some reason, she got a bumper sticker that says "I heart skiing." I thought that was funny. For some reason, it caught my eye. I don't think the bum was a good replacement for Crazy. I was gonna say Crazy Eddie, but that's not right. Crazy Ralph. I mean, he was okay. He started off. He's like, "Oh, nice. Oh, you're all kind." It's like he looks up, and the three girls, they've got very pretty girls in this movie. They're all looking over him. He's like, "Oh, I must have died and gone to heaven," and then he seems like a nice guy. Then he starts going off the rails, talking about how he's been blessed by the so and so, but it's really Jason that he's talking about, and he's like, he gave me a present, and it's an eyeball, and he's like showing him, and so you got a 3D eyeball in your face, which was like a cow or a lamb eyeball that they used. And so everybody freaks out. They're like, well, let's get out of here and head in the back. And they get to Chris's place, which is called Higgins Heaven. So I'm assuming her last name is Higgins. Higgy baby. And they drive over a bridge, and it's one of the board planks goes, and it really gave me some Evil Dead 2 vibes. I think maybe they do it in both the first two movies, but I really got an Evil Dead 2 vibe out of it. It could be an Evil Dead 2 reference 3 years early than when that came out. Anyway, so they get there and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go skinny dipping." Chris is like, "Okay, have fun. There's a lake." Or no, they're gonna go check out the lake, is what they say. They don't say they're gonna go skinny dipping yet. We're gonna go check out the lake. Chris is like, "Okay, you guys go. I'm gonna go ahead and take stuff in." You see someone watching her from the house, and she goes in, and then it's a jump scare where somebody grabs her, pulls her away. It's Rick, and he pulls the girl and kisses her, and or no, he's pulling her in for a kiss, and she's all like, "Whoa, hey, dude, calm down." And it's just smooth move by Rick, I guess. I don't know. That's my note. Smooth move, Rick. Sarcasm there. It's a dorky move. She had been there. It's been 2 years since she was last there. And we're led to believe that they were in a relationship. Apparently, a physical relationship, the way Rick acts, Rick the Dick acts. And she's all just like, "Whoa, buddy, put the brakes on. I just came here after some traumatic event that happened 2 years ago that we're not going to talk about right now." And she's all like, "You know what? We have the whole weekend ahead of us." So it's like, did the last Friday the 13th movie actually happen on Wednesday the 11th? I don't know, because otherwise it's Sunday, and they really only have that one night, or that one day and night. So, no wonder Rick's being so gung ho. Anyway, so she goes back to the van. She's getting the rest of the stuff. She gets another jump scare by Shelly, who's like, "I will take in my makeup case. No one else can." So, like, "Shelly, what are you doing? Go to the lake." Shelly's like, "Oh, I'm not. Oh, they're going to go skinny dipping. I can't go because I'm not skinny enough." Now, I believe that this is Shelley's insecurity speaking, that nobody said to him, "Oh, we're going skinny dipping. You can't come. You're not skinny." I think he was just being very insecure about his body. He's, uh, good sized guy, just like me. Maybe not the most chiseled brow, brow, chiseled chin. He doesn't necessarily have movie star looks or the easy looks of Handstand or Rick. So it made me feel for him. I hope that's not someone getting murdered right there. On this Friday the 13th. It happens statistically. It can happen. Sorry, I thought I heard music. Getting scared in my own house late at night. It's Friday the 13th. So I don't know how you guys feel about Shelly. If you're like, "Oh, this guy is so annoying, and I really wish he'd just grow a pair or something, or you just stop it, or if you're like feel for him. Shortly after Shelly leaves or whatever, Braids comes up um, and is like, "All right, let's take our stuff in." And it's like, did she not go in? Was that was that a super quick skinny dipping scene where all the sun dried out their hair very quickly, uh, or did they just all decide not to go in? Because it seems like that uh, not enough time happened. Let's take a moment to talk about the lake. Camp Crystal, the lake there. We are obviously not on the edge of a lake. What we see is like a tributary or whatever it is, like an inlet. I don't know what those are called, but it's like a little section of the lake that has ground, that's just like because it's not a part that's like smooth beach. It's got a water that comes in. So basically, all you see is this little river-looking thing, and then it goes out around the corner, assumingly to the big crystal lake that we are used to from the first and second movie. That is what I'm assuming is going on here. That is how I played it in my head. That's what's going on. There's obviously the more residential area, the still very tree, but it almost feels more swampy. The lake is not crystal clear; it is very muddy looking. I wouldn't want to go necessarily skinny dipping in it, but I'm a little squeamish, I guess. Make sure all the doors are locked in the house. So anyway, they go up to the bedroom, her old bedroom. So I don't know if she's planning on sleeping in her parents' room or where she's planning on sleeping. They have to have at least 4 bedrooms, if not 5, or else they're really assuming that Shelley and Vera are gonna hit it off and spend the night together. Which I don't know why you would plan that, knowing Shelley. And possibly knowing Vera. I don't know. And that's when we discover the hammock. And there's a talk about, how do you sleep in a hammock, or what are you going to do, or how do you have sex in a hammock. So next scene, they're getting hay, lifting hay up into the hayloft of the barn. I suppose this scene is just so you get the geography that you have the barn, and then there's a hayloft with a open door at top, and there's a rope that you can go down and hook the hay bales. And so Rick's up there without his shirt on, just like pulling up the hay for him, and he's just whining away about how she's not putting out, and he's like, this is how I think we should go. We should be doing it like 3 times a day or whatever. Oh, I could have hung out with some other girl that makes us imply that she would have put out, whereas our heroine is not. Did I say we didn't get a 3D hay bale, accidental 3D hay bale coming through there? Maybe not accidental, maybe it was purposeful. And so it's just really like, what was exactly the relationship? This brings up the question of like, okay, so this guy had a girl that maybe he was having a physical relationship with beforehand. She up and leaves for 2 years. She hasn't heard from her 2 years until she's a little like, hey, I'm coming back. Gonna come. Me and my friends are gonna come hang out at the family beach house, farm, ranch. For the weekend. And I don't know if he was just like, "Hey, all right, let's get back into where we were before," and without even caring that there was 2 years ago and why he left and all that other stuff. Um, but it's cut short. Well, he's, and then finally he lifts her, and he's lifting up what he thinks is a hay bale, and he turns around, and it's her on the thing. So he drops her on the ground. But then there's a scream, and it sure sounds like a lady scream to me. I really thought it was, but maybe it was a male scream, just a very high pitched male scream. I don't know. because it only makes sense that it was a male's room because they go into this male scream because they go into Shelley's room. I'm assuming what was Shelley's room because he's in there in a closet. It seems like we only see like two bedrooms. Just runs into the room. And they open the cabinet door, or maybe Shelley leans against the cabinet door and the body falls on the ground with a big axe in his forehead, blood trail on his forehead. And Chris is freaking out because nobody knows her backstory yet. Well, Braids seems to know her backstory, but it's really not kind of talked about at this point. But it turns out that Shelley's just faking it because, he's backlash from not being able to skinny dip. I guess he fell back into the being scary and annoying thing. So everyone's mad at Shelley. Vera's like, I'm going to go get supplies in town. And Shelley runs out to the car and is like, please take me back. No, not take me back, but please take me. I don't want to be here either. And she's like, no, drives off, stops, and is like, fine. Shelley does a little run to the car. And that part was funny in the commentary because the actor who plays Shelley was all like, I have no idea where that run comes from. I do not run like that. I run like a normal person. He's like, I don't know how that was. I kind of feel, like the Shelley character, I kind of feel like with, they had Ned in the first movie, I'm pretty sure. And then they pulled it back a little for Ted. And then with Shelley, they're like, went the other way and possibly a little too far the other way. So they run into town. And they're getting supplies or whatever. Vera doesn't have money. And so she calls for Shelley asks for his wallet. Shelley throws it in 3D. No, I don't know if she catches it or not, or if it falls on the ground. Or if Foxy grabbed it midair. Is this your wallet? No, this is the phone. And so it enters the biker game, and we got Foxy Brown. No, her name's Foxy, though, I believe. And then you got a Bill Paxton wannabe and a Ollie, and I can't remember what the Paxton wannabe's name is. And so they have an altercation a little bit there, but they manage to get out. But after they get they borrow Rick's car, a Beetle, little Volkswagen Beetle, and she can't drive. She's too upset. So he drives, and he accidentally backs up into their bikes because they're a motorcycle gang. And he backs up their bikes, and Ollie sees it, and he's all like, what the? And he comes over there, and he's all like, smiling and nice. We get a 3D fist with chains around it, breaking through the window. And he's all like, "Wah!" And he finally drives out, and then Shelley's like, no, I'm not going to take it anymore. And he zips it around, and he goes, and he runs over all three of their bikes, and he drives off. And they're all like, woo, yeah. And cut back to the Higgins Haven, to a 3D yo-yo in the face. Handstand is up above Braid. She's lying on the grass or on a towel, and she's in her bikini and she's sunbathing, and he's all like, woo, woo, woo. And it's all like, into her face, coming into the camera, and then into her face, and she's all like, stop it, knock it off, I'm gonna break your string, kind of thing. I think it bops her nose once or whatever. That was the yo-yo worked. The yo-yo worked. It was a good 3D effect. The chain through the window, it kind of worked. So then Rick, who's been like this country boy with a flannel shirt and, jeans and moving hay without a shirt on and stuff like that, all of a sudden he comes out of the house and he's got a sweater like over his shoulders. So he's like, I'm a preppy country boy. Then the car comes up. He's like, oh my gosh, you guys, your friends wrecked my car. I'm out of here. You're not putting out. I'm getting out. But she, Chris gives him a little pouty face. He's like, fine, but I need some time. You want to come with me on a drive someplace romantic? And then so everybody's playing up. Shelly and Vera back in the house. The stoners, I'm assuming, just found some place to smoke, and I don't remember seeing them for this portion of the movie. Braids and Handstand decide to go swimming. Innuendo. She gets her stuff out of the van again. I don't know why she went back to the van. I don't remember. To go with them. And we get a fake out of Boots walking behind the van. I think at this point, at some point, we had seen Jason go into the barn. Like maybe when they pulled in, Chris thought she saw somebody walking into the barn or from the window. Uh, she thought she saw someone walking in the barn. So we're assuming that Jason has been hiding out in the barn, taking a nap. I don't know. Uh, Creating haikus, whatever he's doing in there. But now we see the Boots behind the van, and it turns out not to be him, but it's Ollie from the biker gang, or maybe it's Paxton Wannabe. I don't remember what, but the biker gang has found the haven, and they start siphoning the gas out of the van. But Foxy is bored with this. She goes and starts playing in the barn. Which must be really chilly in there because she zips up her jacket as soon as she goes in. Well, a quarter of the way, not fully, but it's just chilly enough to a quarter of the way. Does an impromptu stomp recital, and then she rings a bell. I think this was she rang the dinner bell for Jason, or the time to kill people bell for Jason, because earlier there were people, Rick and Chris were in the barn doing stuff. I believe the car was in the barn. It's just one of those things. And then that's when you discover that they're planning on this. Paxton Wannabe takes the gas that they siphoned out and runs over there. And I guess their plan is to burn down the barn. I thought they were just going to steal the gas to get back for having their bikes rolled over. But no, they're going to do some major property damage and possibly kill people with that. But Foxy's having fun swinging on the rope from the hayloft. And then Paxton Wannabe's like, get down here. Come on, get down here. Where are you at? It's like, oh, you're dead now. Wink, wink, audience. As he's going up the top of the thing to discover that she is dead. Gotta kill. Foxy is being held up in the rafters with a pitchfork through the neck. And we know that, and they pan down to her feet to see that they're up above the ground. So we know that she's actually being held up by the pitchfork, which isn't the handle coming out at you as in 3D. Earlier, she falls down and almost pokes her eyes out on a pitchfork on the ground. Well, no, I'm sorry. I was going to complain about how many pitchforks this place has for, not having a whole lot of workers, just being one barn and some hay to move around, because Foxy almost falls down and hits some pitchforks. But Jason could have grabbed that pitchfork and gone upstairs and used it to kill Foxy, because he appears with another pitchfork and jams it into Paxton Wannabe's stomach, I think. Yeah, you get the 3D look of the pitchforks coming out you. Pitchfork goes through Paxton Wannabe, and then you get a 3D prong sticking out the back of Paxton Wannabe. And then I thought it was a really nice touch. There's he's got a cigarette and it's dangling or whatever. There's blood on the cigarette. I thought that was a nice touch. And Ollie comes in. I think Paxton Wannabe falls down on him. And he's like, what? And then so he's he's going after Jason, trying to find him. And I think there's a 3D shot of a machete swinging at you. But I don't think Jason has the machete at this point. I think that's Ali has the machete. But Jason hits him like 4 times in the head or wherever. We're to assume that Ali is now dead. He's been whacked in the head 4 times. We missed sexy time at the beach because Braids and Handstand are walking back. I think at this point he might actually be doing his handstand, his trademark handstand walk. And he's all like, "Hey, let's go in the barn and roll in the hay." And she's all like, "Nope, I'm good, thanks." And so they head back to the house. So they missed their chance to get murdered by Jason at that point. He's all like, couldn't everyone just come into the barn? That would be so helpful for me. I don't have to leave my new home that I've discovered for myself. Hey. End of part 1. To continue to part 2, please flip YouTube over. Okay, I just want to explain that joke real quick for all you kiddos out there. Back in the day when we listened to books on tape, the little cassette tapes of which I don't have any to show, but you know what I'm talking about. You've seen videos about them, I'm sure. Your grandparents probably have some and are like, they're the best. You listen to books on tape, and when in the first part of the book was done, you had to flip the cassette over, well, or have the automatic thing, but it would tell you, there'd be a voice at the end that would tell you to flip the cassette over so you can continue listening to the rest of the story. So that's where that joke is. You don't have to take your phone and flip it upside down in order to get to part 2. Part 2 will be released on a Friday the 13th, not this Friday the 13th, because it's Friday the 13th now, and I am not going to be able to get that part done. Maybe I talk too much. I like the sound of my own voice. What YouTuber doesn't? Maybe I just found COVID Cam a little too amusing, so a lot of his stuff stayed in. And that's it. I still had, about an hour's worth of footage to edit. Like I said, it was going to be a long one. I warned you. So I just decided to go ahead and split it into 2 parts. And we're putting part 1 in now, and we'll put in part 2 next Friday the 13th. I hope you're with us for both episodes. Sorry to disappoint if you are like, well, I wanted to get to the end of the movie, and now I have to wait a whole... I think October is the next one. This is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 9 months. You have to wait a whole 9 months to find the end, to get to the end of the next episode. And we're talking Friday the 13th. 3D. How does it end? I don't know. You won't know until next Friday the 13th. What? You're going to rent it and watch it? You're going to grab your own copy and watch it? I don't blame you. That's cool. Anyway, there it is. There's the first half of Friday the 13th, part 3D. We'll do the second half next Friday the 13th. I hope you're having a great one. And remember, hey, this is no dream.
Happy Friday the 13th, everyone.